Today I'm up on the Dix River, just below the dam at Harrington Lake. This is the lower stretch of the Dix River before it enters into the Kentucky River. The water coming out from under the dam is pretty cold, so there's an environment for trout to live in. That's why I'm here today. It's fairly close to Lexington, a lot closer than Lake Cumberland, but the area where you can fish is pretty small, and often there's lots of people here, and I prefer the larger water and just more room that I find down in the Cumberland. But it's a Monday, and I'm hoping that there won't be anybody here today, or at least not for a while. I'm going to start out fishing this riffle and then move on upstream where there's a couple of pools, and maybe there'll be some trout rising up there. It's a few days after my last trip. I'm back up here on the Dix River, a little bit downstream of where I was fishing for trout the other day, in the area where I was catching some bass. It's still fairly early in the morning, a little before 10 o'clock. It's going to be a hot day, but right now I'm in shade. I'm just going to be fishing along this bank here in the wood, and then along these rocks that you see here. Hope to pick up a few bass. When it gets too hot, I'll go home, but I'm going to fish for the next few hours. Well, I'm not doing too bad here. This is the second one in the last 20 minutes or so. This guy's a little bigger than the first one. He's probably more like 15 inches. I see he's bleeding from the gills there. Let me see if I can get this hook out of him and put him back in the river. But things are picking up. Well, thought I had a snag over here, so I came over here to try to get the snag out, but then the snag started to move. So I realized I have a bass on here. I see he's bleeding a little bit from the mouth there, so let me see if I can get him off and back in the water as quickly as possible. And one more guy. This one probably a little smaller than the last one. Looks like he didn't take the hook too deep down in his mouth, so I should be able to get it out without any problem. Action's been okay so far. I see the sun has now come out, and it's going to start to warm up. We'll see how long we last out here. Alright, let me get this guy back. Well, I moved over to the shady side of the creek. It was starting to get a little warm. Fished over here where there's some fallen trees. Look, this guy, he's about the biggest one I've caught today. Looks to be about 14, 15 inches. Came out from underneath the log that I'm right up against here in the boat. Alright, let me get him off and send him on his way. About 3 o'clock. Haven't had a bite in about an hour and a half. Things seem to be slowing down, and I don't know if they'll be picking up anytime soon. So I'm going to be heading back to the ramp, but caught I think about a half dozen today. Not too bad. About 5 hours, so more than one fish an hour is usually something I consider halfway decent. So I'm going to be heading back to the dock now.